morning. I'm on my way to work. It's 4 a.m. and I would just like to talk about something that really progressed me in my preparedness, and that is getting organized. Now, what do I mean by getting organized? Well, getting organized involves keeping track of everything you have and how you're storing it, where you're storing it, etc. So every week on Saturday I go shopping, and then I come home, and in my book I mark down how much food and water I have, how long it'll last me, how much ammunition I have, when I should be cycling out some food and water if it's coming up. And then what I'll do is I will see what goals I hit from last week, and then I will set myself some new goals. So, for example, what that means is, let's say, for example, this week it was relearning knots. When I was a kid, I used to know a bunch of knots because I was in Scouts for years. But as I grew older and I left Scouts, when I moved, I wasn't practicing them. I forgot a lot of them. So what I've done is I've started practicing my knots again. And so I have successfully learned about a dozen knots again. So that's one example. Your goals don't always have to be prepping related. You know, you'll be surprised what you want to do. If you don't write it down somewhere, then you're not going to do it. So that's something else to keep in mind. Now, you want to make sure that this is in something that's smaller and you can transport it, because this is something you want to be able to shove in your bug-out bag. Because if you're shoving in your bug-out bag, what that means is you still have some of your stuff. So let's say you have to load up, let's say it's the most optimal of conditions, you can load it up into your car or whatever. You still have how much you have. You still know exactly how much you have. I would also recommend that you keep it with your food supply, not somewhere else, so that if you ever need to find it like that, you can find it like that. Where you want to store your food is up to you. This is another part about organization. You need to keep it very organized, have it so that your food that you're rotating is moving forward and the new stuff is being put in the back. You need to figure out how often you have to check your food and water. So I've heard, and what I'm doing right now is I check my water supply once a year, drop a couple of things of chlorine in there, drop a couple bits of bleach in there, and then I seal it up and we're good. Now, it's important when you're storing your water that it's dark, because if there's light, you might start growing some funky stuff in there. But if it's sealed off in a dark place, it should be fine. Food expiration dates are not good to go by, because they underestimate how long the food will last, just for safety concerns. Because if they say it'll last 20 years and it doesn't, they can get sued. Even though 99% of cans of Spam will last that long. Now, canned fruit is a different story. Canned fruit has a lot shorter shelf life. Because of the acid inside the canned fruit, you need to switch it out every 6 months, is what I've heard, because it just eats through the seal. So that's the basics of getting organized, is keeping a book with how much food you have, how much water you have, how much ammunition you have, and your goals that you've completed and the goals you want to set for yourself. This was was a big step in getting serious for me because it laid out everything in front of me, and it made it easier for me to keep looking at all my stuff. So that's something I would recommend you to do if you're not doing it already. And if you do this, what do you do that I don't? So how would you recommend I improve my system? It's a new system. It's got refining to be done, but it gets changed. So that's part of it, is updating every week. So yeah, tell me about how you would change mine, what you would add to it, something you might not have on there, etc. So I'm almost at work. So good morning, and thank you for listening.